Hello, everyone. Happy Mondays to you all. It's just gone, well, it's 12 minutes past 6 o'clock. I'm sorry we're a bit late today. We had just a bit of technical difficulties, but we've sorted it all out now. Fingers crossed, nothing's going to happen for the next hour while we're doing the podcast. So, welcome to another episode of Ask the Drummer. Our guest today, I've actually met him in the real world 6 years ago. This was before COVID happened. I saw him at a Ben Watts in-store performance, Jumbo Records in Leeds, and at the time I didn't realize, that he's actually a very famous percussionist drummer. If I had known about it, I would have asked for a photograph. But hopefully, I will get a photo with him at Shine On in Minehead this November. Anyways, he's here now. So, my dear friends, please welcome Pav Fox. Yay! Oh my God! Hello.
Hi. I've got I've got a guest as well.
Yeah, so it's Pav and what's
Jesse. Jesse
Jesse? Oh,
Fox.
Jesse. Oh, Jesse. Oh, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thank you so much. And I'm really glad that you said yes to Ask the Drummer because if I had known, all those years, like, it's unbelievable. Like, you were just there and we got
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
Ben Watt at Jumbo Records. And
Hmm.
yeah, uh, I think you did say to me that you're uh, in a band or something. I'm not sure now, but
I think when we met, I think you and I were both there. We wanted to get acquainted with Ben Watts. So those of you who don't know that Ben Watts was in Leeds and he was doing a record signing and some acoustic songs. And if those of you who don't know who Ben Watts is, he's from Everything But the
I,
Girl.
that's right. Yeah.
And yeah, world famous for the track Missing. And yeah, he's also a DJ. And he had his own night in London called Lazy Dog. Uh, so and I had met him before, and I had seen him many times as Everything But the Girl. So this was a very unique opportunity to see him in person and a very, very intimate moment. And that's where you and I met,
That's
and
right.
it was
Yeah.
brilliant. And that's how it happened. Yeah. So we were both in the queue. We were both in the queue. We got our autograph. We got our photos, and then you and I just somehow bumped into each other and had a few minutes of a conversation, and we became friends ever since.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then Rhea, so you have seen Everything But the Girl
I have.
in
So
right?
let's
Wow.
going back way back to Eden and Worldwide, their albums.
Oh, wow.
So before I would go to, I'd even travelled from Leeds in the car down to Shepherd's Bush in London just to watch them play.
Wow.
Um, I was
Yeah.
a massive fan, a huge fan of their music. Uh, I used to see them at the Lead Mill in Sheffield, and they came to Leeds at Croatia, the Town and Country Club. I think in the 2000s. Yeah,
Yeah. Did you
yeah.
try to get or were you ever lucky to get one of the tickets for their concerts at Moth Club in London?
The
Because
recent one, I
yeah.
haven't. My daughter's going, by the way, but I
Oh,
haven't been able to get one. Yeah, she's going to go in September. Yeah, but
yeah. I've given up because they've announced it like I think it was last year, and I
yeah, yeah.
tried every time they announce the gigs at the
Mm,
Moth Club. I'll be there on the dot, sold out straight away, and I'm like, that's
yeah.
it. I'm giving up. So I still haven't been successful enough to get a ticket.
Mm,
But maybe they'll do bigger shows, hopefully, in the future. So
yeah, yeah,
with more tickets. But anyways,
yeah.
yeah, that's really brilliant. And I remember that song he did, which is "The Night." Ben Caruso sings, and
Mm,
for a time, that was like my most viewed video
yeah,
on my YouTube channel because that was absolutely incredible, and
yeah,
it's just a brilliant moment, like you said. You know, it's intimate venue, and then we got to
yeah,
say hello to him. We got photos with him, so it's brilliant. Anyways,
yeah,
so welcome to Ask the Drummer.
yeah, yeah.
Episode 13 is all about you, Pav Fox. I'm gonna ask you this: is that your real name?
I think the path bit is, uh, and the other bit is it's a tribute to the garden. I'll leave you to that. I'll leave it there.
Okay. so so Pav is that is short for something, or
Oh yeah,
it's
it's an Indian name, Pavinder, and it's just shortened. Yeah, so it's just
yeah,
I think just jumping slightly ahead when I was in Ibiza playing all the super clubs, it just made it easier. Pav, and there were a few other Pavarottis and Pavlovas out there, which rolled off the tongue a lot easier. So and that's where it ended up as a
that's,
yeah.
yeah. Well, googling your name, I mean, the one that comes up is Pav Percussion. Is that
That's the
like
one,
your?
yeah.
So
So
that's
that's kind of
your
like a
stage name?
yeah, that's the stage name, and that just gives
Yeah.
you who it is and also what I do. And I think it works in, especially in club world and the DJ world, it just
Yeah.
easier to put on because there was only ever one percussionist on the gig, um, and so it was just easy to have to get on the flyer, get on the billing.
Yeah. 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 But I've noticed that your daughter is it Romy? Romy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's also Fox. So have you adopted that kind of that
Yeah, we are all adopted from that. Yes, so all of us are.
oh
It's become we've adopted the name from a very very long time, and it's been with us for a very long time. So yes,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I just asked, so were you born here? And you're based in Leeds,
I
right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm based in. I am born here.
Yeah, in
So yeah,
Leeds.
yes, yes.
So what was it like, growing up in Leeds, especially like the music scene there? Because it's very like a place for where goth music started, right?
It probably
Or
did. Yeah, I think it's interesting actually when you say that because I do remember all of that in the 80s. A lot of people dressing up, a lot of people. Punk had still managed to retain its hold in Leeds through its fashion, uh,
yeah,
even though the music had gone uh, by the 80s, the early 80s, the fashion scene and the shops that were selling uh, the fashion that associated with punk was still here, and goth uh, was still around. The clubs were they had that mysterious sound and fashion, and yeah, I do remember it quite as a young kid. So right, let's 1982, I was leaving high school, so 17.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Were
it was.
you?
I was still young.
Yeah, were you a part of it? Were you did you know like the music scene in Leeds, or did you
I,
go to a lot
I
of
kind
gigs?
of uh, later on, yes, but just growing up, just going back a little bit. My parents were from India, and Dad was into Indian classical music, and
Oh,
he would play Ravi Shankar and all the
oh,
other acclaimed sitar artists as well,
yeah.
and he would play them relentlessly and have them on cassette and vinyl and yeah, just come on, Pav, you know what's going on. Come on, you know what's going on. And I'm like, I haven't got a clue. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. He tried his best. He really did. But Dad, it was very musical. He had a huge cassette and record collection of all his favorite Indian artists. Uh,
Yeah.
he was an electrician by day on the British Rail, and by night he would be playing those records. But
Oh, I see.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think we all have the moment that music changed for all of us, and I think a lot of your audience will say the same. A lot of the people who are watching will say the same. The moment they saw Top of the Pops, and I think everyone has said, anyone from a music background of a certain age will say that the
Yeah.
moment they saw T-Rex for the first time, you know, Bowie, uh, Roxy Music. It was life changing, and and then there was you know, there were bands like Sparks that would you not necessarily heard the music, but you definitely remembered Ron Mael for his striking Charlie Chaplin looks.
Yeah.
But his music and lyrics were well really of a high level. Um, but so that was it, and then I think later on, I did. I started round about playing drums probably about uh, probably properly about 84, 85.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
I sat behind a kit, I think, for the first time.
Why drums? Why did you try any other instrument, like maybe picked up a guitar or a piano,
I
or
think,
just drums straight away?
do you know what? I don't know what happened. I just felt, well, listening to radio.
Yeah.
I had a little radio as a young child. I'd be in the loft, in the attic of our terraced house, and Dad would be watching his Coronation Street, and I'd managed to escape and listen to John Peel and Radio Luxembourg and
Yeah.
stuff that was not commercial, stuff that wasn't you know, stuff that was different, and
Yeah.
I really linked into that. I linked into this world of indie and reggae and something different, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I liked that. I just didn't like the commercial music of what was on TV. A lot of it was just product placed. It just didn't feel right for me. So uh, one of the first singles I ever bought was this one,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
That I
the
gotta
Spyro
say
Scratchy.
that's really expensive now. It's worth a lot of money because we have
Yeah,
sold one.
yeah. So this is my
Recently.
original copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And that changed everything. And I got music in a different kitchen by the Buzzcocks, and the speed of the drumming
Oh my
just,
God. Yeah.
yeah, it just excited me. And
Yeah.
then there was another band called The Police, and they were out and they were doing thought-provoking rhythm that made you think, that's back to front. That can't be done, you know. And Stuart Copeland behind the kit would be, you know, this playing Walking on the Moon,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was just so it pushed your mind. And this is before I was even behind a kit. I was just like thinking, wow, that sounds good. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then
But
eventually when yeah,
you already know, or like you've already got this knowledge of like the technical aspects of music, or you can pick it up.
you could, I think I picked it up because I wanted to do it, because I did see a lot of the drummer always having fun on Top of the Pops, the drummer on Earl Grey Whistle Test always having fun. Uh, you could see them smiling, you could see them enjoying it, and they were while everybody was being serious, the drummer was smiling and having fun, you know, and it just had that cheeky grin and thinking, I think I could do that, and it was just so exciting to hear, just to
Yeah.
be able to even if I don't even know if I could play at that time. And when I was about 17, 16, 17, I just liked the sound. I used to love Sparks, and I loved all their records and all the drumming on Number One in Heaven and Beat the Clock. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
I loved all that stuff, and Tubeway Army, um, Our Friends Electric. It was just such a lovely time to listen to music. It was
yeah.
so great. Yeah,
But with your dad, so like really getting, he's a big fan of Indian classical music. Did he not
yeah.
sort of like say you have to learn about our, like our music instead of the ones that you see, like John Peel was playing or Top of the Pops or
Yeah.
something.
Well, there was a long-standing standoff, but there is a turning point, and the turning point did happen. And
Yeah,
yeah, the turning point did happen, and so I had the moment happened, and I'll jump forward slightly. Um, he was definitely against. He didn't like what I was doing. He says, "Oh, Pav, what you doing? You're just really wasting your time, and you should be listening to my music and getting into it." And so the turning point happened is that one day he was at home, and his friends were ringing him, and not one but two, three, or four were ringing him on the phone, and they were saying to him. Uh, I, I've just seen your son on the front cover of the Yorkshire Evening Post in colour on the front page. And it was a big tabloid newspaper back then. And I'd done an interview with the Yorkshire Post about my journey to Ibiza and how it all happened. Little did I know they took a photograph and put it on the front page. Well,
oh
this was the
wow.
turning point. Yeah. So this was the turning point, and my dad, well, took all the credit. All his friends were ringing him, and they were saying, and that back then the newspaper was king, and it was in the shops, and my picture's on the front, and everybody's like, and he's ringing, and he's going, of course, of course.
Yeah,
It was
my
all down.
influence. Yeah.
It was my influence. It was all down to me, and he loved it.
Oh wow. Oh,
Yeah,
that's brilliant. Yeah,
he
but
loved it.
did you have proper drumming lesson? And did you have a kit at home, or how when you said that you went to the loft and you just
Yeah.
listened to the radio and things? How
Yeah,
did you
I
get
think
into
I didn't.
proper?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't have a kit. No, I didn't have a kit.
yeah.
Luckily, next door neighbours had a drum kit, and over the road, my neighbours had a drum kit. They were in bands, and
Oh,
I
really?
used to go pop over and listen to them, and then have a
Yeah.
jam on the kit, and also next door. So yeah, I lived in a very musical street in
Were
Hare
they
Hills.
were they famous? Were they famous? Like, did they make
Not
it?
I don't think they ever made it, but they were older than me. So they would
Yeah.
have been right now, if I was to guess, they'd be well, I do know that one of them that they were in a band called Son of Sam. Um,
Okay.
and they studied with one of the guys was in the same class as Green Garside from Scritability.
No
and
way.
and and they were studying at Leeds Polytechnic. So that is the link somehow. But I never met Green or anything. But I know that they knew him and they'd spoke about him briefly. But I was
Oh, wow.
always over there. I was always hanging out in that house, and whenever I got a chance to borrow their drum, when I did start playing, when I
Yeah.
got a gig, I'd go and borrow the drum kit from them, and eventually I bought my own. But that's how I started.
Yeah, yeah. But you had proper drumming lessons, or were you just
I
self-taught?
was just self-taught. Yeah, I just worked out that's the kick drum, that's the hi-hat,
Yeah.
um, and that's it. And I never had drum lessons. I mean, now you can watch YouTube and pick up all these different rhythms, but I
Yeah.
never had that. I just learnt it from watching Top of the Pops, I guess.
So
This
it
hand goes here, this one goes here.
so it's got to be, because I always ask the drummers about this, because I do believe that drummers are born drummers, and it's
Yeah,
got to be in you. You know, like you said, you just watch them. I mean, me watching drummers and I say, "Oh, that's brilliant," but I could never sort of like learn just from looking at them or watching them that this is where it should go and stuff. So that's why I think, like yourself, I think you're a
yeah,
born drummer.
yeah. It really. So it's just, but it's 2 and 4, and that just goes throughout all of pop records. 2, 4. The snare falls on 2 and 4, and it just happens all the way through, and then reggae is on the third beat, and I think that's just the basic of the drumming, you know. So that's
Yeah, yeah. But you had a music lesson. So when
not
you're in,
really. I think I never had a music lesson. I just watched the other guys playing. I don't think I'm trying to think back who I watched really. And when
what?
was the first time it took me a while to learn how to play. It wasn't
Yeah,
easy. I was holding the drumsticks like a warrior. I didn't know how to, it took me quite a long time before I learned how to pinch and grip and do drum rolls and stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because you're more a percussionist,
That's right,
but
yeah.
I remember reading an article before that says all percussionists are drummers, but not all drummers are percussionists. Would you agree with that one?
Yeah, because what happens is that a drummer is is naturally going to play groove and then fill, groove and then fill, and groove and then fill. Whereas if you put the two together, the drummer doesn't need to do that many fills. The percussionist can fill that bit in. They can color that part of the track. And a track that your listeners, I think you should all go out and listen to this one. Is Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street.
Baker Street, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and and listen to it and forget the saxophone solo.
I was going to say, because that's the one that actually stands out
Yeah,
is the
but
sax.
you need to take that out of your head. Forget that saxophone is there and listen to the track and listen to all the percussion and how the bongos and the congas and all the little bits and pieces that are working that track. And then you think, wow, that's 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 just filling that space so lush. So yeah,
Oh wow! No,
yeah,
when you said Baker Street, I was like, oh yeah, immediately you think that that saxophone is just incredible. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when you learned how to play the drum, what was your first band? Because you were playing drums, you were a drummer at the time, not really doing percussion
Yeah,
bit.
I was in a lot of indie bands in Leeds. I my first band I was with Spider Blue. We recently met up last year. It's almost like a 39 years catching up. But yeah, we met after almost literally, yeah, 35 years later. We met up last year. But
Oh,
that,
okay.
that so I was in Spider Blue playing a three-piece. Um, we played a lot of pubs and clubs around Leeds and Scunthorpe, Hull, Huddersfield. Yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and then I kind of uh, left and went to. I didn't do drumming for a while after that. I think I'm trying to think. Jumping slightly a bit forward to the 90s. That was the 80s, and then the 90s.
yeah.
I ended up reluctantly, but I did it, and it was a job more than anything. And I worked with for a couple of years playing the sideman, like a side drummer for an Indian Bhangra band, basically. And there was a couple of bands back then, and they needed the backbeat of an Indian style, uh, and so I did, and I tried to learned the beats and I played a few times and we even got onto breakfast TV.
Really?
doing yeah.
In the 90s, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a clip on YouTube somewhere of me playing on Breakfast TV, a live broadcast from the Royal Armouries in Leeds.
Yeah.
So I remember that. That was good. It's a good day.
But
I did that then for
were you already
say
called
that
Pav Foxx by then? Because
no no no
one thing that I
no no
also do is I look up Discogs, and of course I typed in your name, but
yeah
there's no Pav Foxx there, so it's like, oh, I wonder why.
yeah. Well, I think the fox comes from where we live, and at the back of the house is uh, it's just woodland,
Oh right,
and if you're very lucky, you
you'll
will
see it.
see them.
Oh
Yeah,
right, okay. But this Spider Blue, did you ever do? Have you released? Did you release a record or?
yeah. We
Yeah.
never released a record, but we did. We recorded an album, and so the guys who recorded it were two guys called Richard and Alaric, and they were associated with a band called the Bridewell Taxis, and they were
No.
quite famous in Leeds at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they recorded the album for us, and um, I asked them to, so I personally went back to them and had it uh, remixed. I don't know if it remixed or reproduced
Remastered.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
remastered. I didn't like the first version of it, and I thought, can you guys um, produce it as if it was you guys as a
Yeah.
professional?
Yeah.
And they did that, and they did some overdubs as well, and that was it. And it was, of course, all of us wanted to be famous, and all of us wanted to sell records. It just never quite happened. Um,
Yeah. Well, the sad news about it is their singer, I think, died last year, or was it 2 years? The singer
who,
of the Brightwell Taxis.
oh right, okay.
Yeah, I
Well,
can't remember his name now, but yeah,
no,
it
I
wasn't
can't know.
news before that. Yeah,
Mm,
I think I was at Shine On at the time when I saw it, but
yeah.
anyway, so you were like connected with them, or you know them, and they're the ones who did it. So did they actually release that record, or it's still not?
No, no, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. Okay.
It didn't happen. I think the band dissolved, and then we head into the 90s, and I joined the Bangra band,
Yeah, yeah.
and they released several records, several CDs. I think I featured on two of them, but I didn't
Oh,
actually play on. I did. My name was credited. I don't think I actually played on them. It was all programmed, but I was
um,
just there was a band photo with the names of the bands, and I got a name check on the album, but that's about it. But
oh, okay.
that I wasn't really I wasn't committed. Um, I wasn't committed because that wasn't the music that I was interested in,
Yeah.
and I really wanted to be. Well, I wanted to be like
Is it rock?
uh, like
Indie?
yeah, but a bit of both. I wanted to be the drummer for the Smiths. I wanted to be the drummer for Van Halen. I wanted to be the drummer for Simple Minds. Uh,
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
I just thought that is where I want to be. I want to be that
Yeah.
guy,
But
and I
when
didn't
did
want to be the. Go on.
yeah, when did you transition from a drummer to a percussionist? Were you doing the percussion bit in this Bangra band?
No, no, no. I think by the end of the 90s, it all happened. It all took place, and it's interesting actually that how it happened. Um, so the Bangra band were playing uh, at the Town and Country Club. Underneath, there was for local bands, there was a venue called the Underground, which was connected. So the Town and Country Club would have uh, served the local community as well, with bands could come and play. And one day the Bangra band was there. And I got there early and set up my Simmons electronic drum kit. That's what the kit I was using, and I got there early, and I met the DJ, and the DJ just happened to be someone I knew from Spider Blue days.
Oh,
Anyway, he said to me, Pav, we are doing. So while I was setting up, there was a girl playing saxophone, and and they were just playing soulful house music,
yeah,
really soulful grooves, and it was just so lush. And I thought, wow, I've not heard this kind of music for years. I mean, where have I been? This is so cool.
yeah.
And next minute, I turned the dial on my percussion rig by chance, and I just turned on to because you can turn the sounds on the electronic drum kit, and you can flick all the sounds and turn all the pads into electronic drums or congas or bongos or cowbells or whatever.
All
And
right,
somehow
yeah.
I just so 1 minute a snare could be a cowbell, the two toms could be bongos, yeah, or a shaker. And I did that, and I started tapping along while Laura was playing saxophone to so the girl's called Laura, by the way, who's playing
All
saxophone,
right,
and she
yeah.
she she later she's very very famous right at the moment, but we'll get onto that in a bit. But this is how we met.
Okay.
So we anyway, I am tapping along, and then the DJ says to me, late after the gig, after we've done everything, he went back to that big bit at the beginning. He says, "You know that bit where you two were just where you were jamming with Laura and
Sammy.
that, and
Yeah.
that sounded really good. Should you fancy coming down here and playing some percussion and bongos with Laura and that?" And I went, "Okay." And it was a paid gig, uh, 30 quid. And I went, "All right,
Wow.
there you go."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay for and that was for between 4 and 7, and I get to meet this really lovely girl who's 10 years younger than me, and she was studying at Leeds College of Music. She's from Dorset, and she's lovely Laura, and she's world famous saxophone player in Ibiza. She features on all the Cafe Mambo live events. She's played every club in Ibiza. But we
All right.
spent the next. So what happened is we spent the next decade playing saxophone and percussion together as a duo, and it went
Uh,
slowly, slowly. We were
yeah.
doing corporate. We ended up doing the underground. From there, we ended up doing another bar in Leeds, another club, another bar, and then we ended up at a club called Tall Trees in Yarm, and we played there. And next minute, the nightclub in Yarm, had
Yeah.
7,000 people going into that nightclub. And
Oh,
by 2000, we were in the main room, and in front of us was a sea of people. Uh, no mobile phones, no footage, but yeah, it
yeah.
was just proper. Yeah, and proper house music. We were into the whole
Yeah.
house music scene, and
So what was the
and
kit that you were using? Is still the electronic drum kit, but tuned
so
in.
that by that time, I'd spent nearly so my so like most people have their days out. They go to the park or they go to the pub, or I would go to the local music shop in Leeds at the Marion Centre, and it was a shop called Shearer's, and I'd spend most mornings there, Saturday
Yeah.
mornings, until they kicked me out. Uh, so yeah, uh, so drums, snares, cymbals, hi-hat, sticks, you name it. I had a 13 by 5 Remo snare. I was using 13 hats. I was using Zildjian cymbals, pearl stands, timbales, tama. I had the lot. I had
Wow.
everything close mic'd, and I was playing it. I had everything, chime bars, you name it. The lot was all on a rack. It was all around me, and I loved playing it. And I could play
Yeah.
to house music because there was in house music. There's just the kick drum, snare and hi-hat. So that what there was no fills in house music. So there's no one going
Yeah,
there's none of
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what you could do is you could fill that gap with your own bongo roll, your own conga,
It's
and you could
fantastic.
put like your own shakers and your own snare. So I kind of just copied the snare and the hi-hat, then moved over to the timbale fill. And then in dance music, there's no cymbals either, very few, and you could, and that would give it that live sound. So you'd play a
Yeah,
couple of live cymbals in China, and you'd hear that it fill the sound up, and you'd think this sounds like this sounds like a live band, and it gave it that live lift
yeah,
element. So you'd play a house record, and next minute you'd have this kit that just give it an extra lift, an extra bit of energy.
but you got into it by accident though, because like what you said before, you wanted to be in a band like the playing drums, like in the Smiths or, Simple Minds, and they're not house music. I mean, these are like proper indie music. So
I know.
you
So what happened?
changed,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
indie
I
to
did,
house.
but then the fills that they were doing,
Yeah,
you could put them in. You could put that "Don't You Forget About Me" fill, by the Simple Minds.
yeah,
You
yeah.
could put you would you find a way. You absolutely could find a way to put that in to your set, and you get that feeling of like I've made it. I could do it. I got the buzz from just putting that fill in.
Yeah, yeah. Have you ever put the most famous one by Phil Collins? Like in the
I,
air tonight.
I think no. I think that what I kind of leave that one because it's slower. It's a lot slower,
Yeah,
and it's lots. It wouldn't be. I just couldn't get the speed to do that at 126 beats per minute would be hard to get that in. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
but going back to one of our other guests, John Moss.
Yeah,
Um, so John, when I watched
culture.
that documentary that they did in I think in 1986 or yeah 1986, and they went to China or maybe a bit earlier 84. They went to China and they played a tour there, and John's standing up, and he used to stand up and play, and I always liked that, and he's a really good drummer,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he did some absolutely amazing drum rolls. And his technique on the drumsticks were just really cool. I could hear it coming through the TV. I thought that's really cool. And him standing up as well was just cool as well.
wow. Well, one thing that I saw when I was looking up your name is you're the first musician who's sort of like done like a live percussion to house music. Because is it Head Candy? Because I have seen Head Candy before. It's very
Yeah,
much like house, like deep house or something. But you made it into a live. Is that what you did? Like the first one who actually made it sound like as if it's like a live band.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was such a fantastic.
So
We had
how did
it
you
was just
get
such a
into? Yeah.
well. I think we're slightly jumping quite forward because the there's a bit where another stroke of luck happened, and there's quite a few of these that happen along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll get to Head Candy. Head Candy was brilliant. Uh, it could have been even more brilliant. It's like the minute we had a number one hit, the lead singer left. It was like that.
Oh,
That's Head Candy. Yeah, Head Candy was had it its absolutely number one moment, and it also has its absolutely downfall as well. Or yeah, and equally both are great, but getting there was slightly different. So I go back to the bit where me and Laura were playing the clubs and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
and so I'm playing in Leeds out. So this beautiful brand new bar in Leeds. Like, we are very lucky now. We have these state of the art wine bars and trendy boutique bars or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but back in the late 90s, that didn't exist. And when we did have it, it was great. People were sitting outside and drinking for the first time, and I was playing on a Saturday afternoon outside this bar in Leeds called the Townhouse. It was called the
Okay.
Townhouse, and
Yeah.
near the Corn Exchange, behind the Corn Exchange in Leeds.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Is it still
yeah,
there? Is it? Is it
I
still there?
think. Well, the building is there.
Okay.
Building is there. The venue and the way it's run, I think that's all dissolved. But so
Yeah.
one Saturday afternoon in July, uh, 1999, uh, two brothers walking past, and they stop, they sit down, they ponder for a bit, they listen to me playing, and they came over to me, and after a good half an hour, and gave me a card and said, "Look, we like we like what you're doing. Uh, would you like to come and play? Play? Would you? We would like you to come and play in our club in Ibiza."
Oh.
Yeah, and I got the card and I went. I looked at it and I thought, I don't know what that. I don't know anything about Ibiza. I don't know nothing about Ibiza. I've never, I've got a clue.
Yeah.
Anyway, they went off, leave me with a card. I continued playing my percussion to soul music,
Yeah. Yeah.
soulful, you know, soulful beats, and people were still listening. Anyway, the bar manager came running out and said, "Pav, what did they say? What did they say?" I said, "They just gave me this card and said they want me to play in Ibiza at their club." He says, and I says, "I don't know." And he says, "You do know who they are, don't you?" I says, "No." He says, "That's Mike and Andy. They own the biggest nightclub in the world." I went, "What?"
What?
Yeah. I went, "Wow." So the brothers who owned Manumission, uh, who started in Manchester as well. They started Manumission in Manchester and then ended up in Ibiza, and it was
Oh.
huge.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I ended up playing for them. Uh, Literally playing the main stage. The first gig was with Sister Bliss from Faithless,
Oh, faith.
uh,
Yeah.
and there were
Wow.
many. Judge Jules, Danny Rampling. Uh, the list is endless of DJs.
Yeah.
Fatboy Slim. You
Roger.
found yourself, yeah,
Yeah.
Roger Sanchez. I'd
Yeah.
find myself rubbing shoulders with all of these guys, and it was
Goodness.
great. And next minute, I'm literally, I'd done. They said, "Could you come?" I did 2 weeks there. They said, "Good news and bad news." I went, "Oh no." They said, "What's the good news?" It's, uh, that we want you to stay. And I says, "What's the bad news?" "We've lost your passport." Right, right, okay. And I said, "So," which they really wanted me to stay. This is, "We're only joking. Here's your passport. No, we've got your passport, but we want you to stay." So I got the gig, and I ended up playing every Monday night, as many as I could do. By
And
the
you
end of August,
stayed. And you stayed
I
there.
didn't. I didn't stay. Well, not really. I had to make it work. I had to
Okay.
make
Yeah.
it work. So I
Yeah.
was flying back. I was flying in, doing my gig, and flying back out. Literally, I didn't have long. My feet didn't stay long enough to go to any after party or anything. I was literally, as soon as it finished, I'm heading home.
Flight back to Leeds.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, it was just yeah, because Romy, my daughter,
Yeah.
and they were all young back then, and the family, they needed me, and I couldn't relax. I couldn't. It wasn't the party and the cultural scene. That whole scene wasn't me, but I
Yeah.
did find the peaceful side and the mellow side of Ibiza, the bit where you could sit at Talamanca and just your thoughts and walk around Ibiza town and just enjoy that side of it. The
Yeah.
hedonistic side, Well, I saw it in the clubs, but it didn't. I didn't. I was just focusing on beats. Whenever I was in the club, I was in work mode. I couldn't. I wasn't in party mode. I was
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've
So
never
yeah.
been.
I think
I think,
no.
well, yeah, when I was young, when I was living in the Middle East, it's one of
Yeah.
those things that I want to go there. I want to experience
Mm,
it. But then now that I'm older, it's like I said to my colleague at King B the other day, you go to a club night, like there's one that Dave Haslam is doing in Warrington with Stephen Morris
yeah.
and Jillian. And I was thinking, okay, it's very tempting because I wouldn't mind. I'd like to see Stephen Morris again. But what do I do?
Mm,
Do I just stare? And then my colleague said, "Well, you dance because it's a club night. They play the
yeah.
music, you dance." It's like, but you can't just dance on your own. You've got to be. It's different from when you're going to a gig. Because when you're going to a gig and there's a band on the stage, you can just be on your own and watch the band. But if it's a
Yeah.
club like that and there's music playing, and you can't just sort of like stand in the barrier and watch the DJ. You've got
I,
to do something.
yeah. I think I agree with you. I do agree with you, and I do find that bit still to this day baffling. But it happens, and people are enjoying it, like there's a huge audience out there that are loving it, and I'm thinking, well, it's just like when you watch a football match and you see that the stadium's full of 60,000 people, and you're thinking, wow, they're all connected, and so is dance music. It has its audience.
Yeah, yeah. But when you
Mm,
do it though, it's not just um say with Faithless Sister Bliss. So when you're doing it with her, so she's doing the DJing bit, but you're playing
yeah,
live. Is that how
yeah, that's how it
good?
works. Yeah, you just go. So it's like any piece of music. Now a lot of the bands now are tracked. So when you and I go to see a band,
Yeah,
say that if we went tomorrow to see a band, probably up there in the top 30 of bands, half of it will be tracked, half of the music will be tracked. So you're not actually hearing it's only when you get to grassroots level, uh, when you hear a full live band.
yeah,
But
yeah,
most of it's tracked. And what I mean by tracked is that you'll hear a song that we all know, which is a famous song, but a lot of the parts are from when the person press go on the computer and plays the 3 minute song. There'll be parts of that song that'll be pre-recorded. They'll be going through your headphones, and you're playing the live drums. So it's nothing different from that. What I do, I'm playing along to dance music,
yeah,
and it's already there. It's
yeah.
already there.
So going to see you play in a club, it's actually more like going to a gig because you're playing
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
instrument. So it's not
yeah.
just
Because
you, so you can just watch you play.
yeah, because when you're improvising, you don't have the restraints of I must just keep the music directors looking at you and saying, "Don't you dare do a fill. Just keep it straight. No
Yeah,
fancy stuff. Keep in time. Stop dragging. Just keep it going. Keep it going." So
yeah,
but in a nightclub, you the BPM keeps you there. So you've got 126 beats per minute, which can go up and down, and you just feel it and you get really
yeah,
into it, and you just
yeah,
like when we talked about Missing by Everything But the Girl, and right at the beginning of the track, it's just all percussion, and acoustic guitar, and
yeah.
Todd Terry remix is just something that's taken to another level.
Wow, that's so. Right now, though, you're in a band.
I am.
So it's not just sort of like DJing and doing clubs. You're in a band and you're doing festivals.
I
And
am.
I've seen a clip of this. I've never heard of the beat herder before. So but apparently it's been going on for 20 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Beat Herd is a huge festival. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's a dance music festival.
that's right. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really good. I mean, I I met Faithless. They were there on
yeah,
Friday night.
yeah, yeah.
I was showed Sister Bliss, uh, the photograph of us together for the first time in '99. I said, I just got off the plane and I'm having dinner with you. I didn't even know who you were. Uh, and and when I was lucky. I met so many people in that journey. I met Maxi in quite a few times. Um, so I was very lucky. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. The way I so like when I because I missed K-Klass when you played at Shine On last year, I
yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
right. Yeah,
because you're always on quite late, and it's the dance. I think it's the is it the Reds? Is it the Red stage or
I think
maybe
so. Yeah,
yeah? So because I know that that stage is mainly so like club music and dance so
yeah.
like so I go to the main one and then maybe the center stage and stuff, but anyways, I saw a clip that you posted, the Beat Her one. It kind of reminds me of like stereo MCs
That's right.
because
Yeah.
the percussionist in stereo MC is sort of like a similar thing to what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, because the backbeat is predominant. Dance music has a backbeat, so you can't really. There's no point in trying to recreate that because that's on the record. That's part of the, that's what the DJ's beats matching is that. Doof, doof, doof.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
no point. So what you need to do is kind of like thinking, hold on a minute, I can play the other bits, and you know, I learned a lot of that from the '80s music that I used to listen to, and Um, I'm just looking at some of the records. Like for this, if anyone wants to listen to this one, Everything She Wants
Oh,
by Wham.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
if you, yeah, and if you listen to this particular song, listen to it at the beginning and listen to the bongos and look how simple they are. Just do 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 do, and it just sounds so good when the keys come in and it slowly builds up. But you learn that as a young person. You're thinking that's just amazing, and there there was lots of stuff. There's lots of percussion going on back then, and I was just trying to think,
But
like like
Weren't they all done in like a drum machine
no,
in the
that
80s? So,
on Wham's possibly was a
yeah,
Lindrum, but a lot of stuff was live.
live. Yeah.
Louis Jardine was the guy that everybody went to, and
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
but this album here, All Night Long,
Oh. Lionel Richie.
uh,
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
but all live. The percussion is just fantastic, and even
Yeah.
on going back to UB40 signing off,
I bought that one
Astro,
as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Astro's percussion on this, and it's in stereo, and it's live, and it's pre-computer days. It's you can hear the air in the congas,
Yeah.
um, and it's just so lush. And I just thought I'd dig out a few. I think going to this is the album that changed my life. I think
Oh
more than
my God.
anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I probably ended up listening to this album almost every week for forever, really.
Wow.
And yeah, and I love all the songs on here. I love all the percussion. I love every song,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just a fantastic album.
Yeah,
And it
and that's it's Steve Norman, isn't it? Because he's the
it
one
is,
who's done all the percussion bits in that one. So,
yeah, yeah. Well,
but it's
Steve is someone who I eventually met, my hero. So,
yeah, yeah,
but that was interesting. I mean, how I met him was through MySpace. So we've kind of gone through a little bit too quick because the bit after Manumission, when that I think 2003, that kind of came to its conclusion there. But while I was doing that, I ended up with Danny Rampling, and I'm going to get back to Steve Norman, but I ended up in so Danny Rampling had his own Radio One show on
Yeah.
BBC Radio One, and it was at 9 o'clock after Pete Tong, and he had a show called the Love Groove Dance Party. And I think when a couple of years ago, when Calvin Harris picked up his Brits Award, he thanked Danny Rampling, and he thanked him for the Love Groove Dance Party.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I videoed that, and I sent it to Danny, and I went, "Can you believe we got a credit after 25 years? Somebody said we did something good." And he went,
Wow.
"Wow, yeah." I mean, little did I know, I'd worked with Danny for a while, but little did I know that the last gig, he already knew that there was going to be no more. This was his last show for Radio One. I didn't know
Oh,
that. He invited me, well, he asked me and the guys at Radio One. We ended up in Miami, and we did a live broadcast from Miami Beach. Pete Tong, Frankie Knuckles, Danny Rampling, and
wow.
yeah, it was fantastic.
Big
DJ,
names. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I met Ben Watts as well. Yeah,
There. At
yeah,
the,
yeah. So I met Ben, and I stayed and watched his set, Lazy Dog. I watched it. I just thought I was hanging out with Sonic.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I was
Wow.
living. I had a week in the sunshine there, and it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I have some great memories. And that after that, we did another broadcast from Cafe Mambo from live from in Ibiza on Radio One. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was with Roger Sanchez and Danny, and that was fantastic. And then all of a sudden, the those people in that niche area of nightclub and
Yeah.
house music world
Yeah.
were suddenly picking the phone up and making the calls, and gigs were coming in all through word of mouth and your name being mentioned on the radio. We had no social media, so if your photograph got into Mix Mag or Ministry of Sound Mag, or it got mentioned on Radio Pete Tongs, we were almost. But each band and each musician out there will have their own outlet of that magazine or their own outlet of their radio show. To
Yeah.
have your record played by Radio One was the same buzz of having your name read out. Oh, we've got Pav from Manumission, we've got Pav from, on the Danny Rampling show.
Wow.
It was just great, yeah.
That's
So
fantastic. Is it? And that's how you met Steve Norman, or
a little
how
bit
did?
later, a
A
little bit
bit
later.
later than that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we ended up I ended up with Head Candy
Yeah.
in about 2003. I did a couple of years with them, and then I think around about 2005, I messaged Steve Norman on MySpace, and I'd been
Space.
writing, I'd messaged him, and he replied back, and I was kind of wow, and we kept in touch, and it
Yeah.
was back and forward, and eventually I said, look, Steve, I'm playing in London at Victoria, opposite Victoria Station, a nightclub called Pasha, and I'm there at the end of the month. Fancy coming down and watching me play? And I actually do what you're doing, and it's I'm doing everything, all the beats and they're all homage to you in a way. So
Wow.
anyway, yes, he did. To cut a long story short, yes, he did.
Yeah.
And,
And then you
and
ended
then,
up. You
and
ended
then
up. So,
we ended up becoming really good mates and best friends or whatever.
yeah.
And it was really good. Yeah, it was fantastic. And we went on this Head Candy journey that when I couldn't do a gig, he would do one. And that this time, Spandau Ballet weren't playing or performing. They'd had finished. So everybody was solo. Tony was
Yeah.
doing his solo thing. The Kemps were doing movies,
Yeah.
making the Cray twins or the Bodyguards. Um, but they, and Steve and I became mates. We ended up in Wembley drums one afternoon, and we were
Gosh.
going around looking at all these drums and percussions. I just spent it was just like we were just laughing, and looking at all this percussion and all these snare drums, and then it came to a point where there was a when I got a gig, I said I can't do this particular gig, and I rang him. I says I can't do this gig, and he says, Pav, I haven't got any percussion. I went, don't worry, I've got loads. I'll sort it out. And I couldn't play. There was a gig called Bahrain F1 Grand Prix. There was a live event there, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I said to Steve, do you fancy going to Bahrain and doing this gig? And he said, yeah. I haven't got any percussion. I said, don't worry. So the next time I was in London, I went to his house, and there you go.
And he did
Gave
it.
him
So he played instead of.
it,
Oh my
yeah, yeah.
God.
And he
Oh
played
wow.
lots. He did quite a few. He did quite a few for Head Candy. Yeah.
Yeah. But you ended up also playing for Spandau Ballet, didn't you?
Not
Or
quite. I played with Steve.
Steve
We
Norman.
we did. Yeah, we did our gigs together, and that
Yeah.
was. And I'd met everybody.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
everyone, and I'd through Steve. Um, he rang me. He rang me up in 2009 and said,
Yeah.
"I've got some news for you." I says, "What? Go on then." He says, "We're getting back together." I went, "No way." Anyway, I ended up at the press conference on the HMS Belfast, where they announced to the world that Spandau Ballet are getting back together. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
later on in the year, rang me out of the blue. He says, "Pav, what are you doing? Where are you?" I says, "I'm in Birmingham." He says, "Right, can you get down to L Street Studios, George Lucas Studios in L Street in London?" I says, um, "It'll take me a couple of hours, but yeah." He says, "Right, get here." And I got down there. He says, and I think it was about 11 o'clock, and Spandau were doing their last dress rehearsal with about 30 people in the studio in this big, where they shoot Star Wars,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
did a 2 hour concert. And
And
I'm
you were
sat there
there.
and I was sat on a flight case watching
Oh
the
my God.
the last rehearsal before they go on tour.
Well, do you remember this year when I went to see the Blitz exhibition in Spandau
Yeah, yeah,
Ballet with
yeah,
the
yeah,
main cast? And I did tell them, I did say, "Oh, Pav Foxx," so like said hello to, and everyone said, "Oh yeah, how is he?" So they know you. It was like Gary Kemp, Steve Norman, say, "Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah,
of course we know him," and things like that.
yeah,
And I felt like, yeah, I know him too.
yeah,
I
yeah,
laugh. So, oh my God. And not only that, also take that. I saw a photo of you with Jason Orange and I was like, no way. I love Jason
but
Orange. I mean, he's my
yeah,
favorite.
yeah.
But he's
Well,
won that. So,
I think this is going back to 2003. So I meet Howard Donald,
yeah.
and I meet him in Cheshire at a club, and he's a house DJ now. And take that no longer were no longer anymore. They'd finished, and
Yeah.
while Robbie was doing his solo thing, Gary was doing his solo thing, and Howard had become a house DJ, and he still is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think later that year we ended up well. In a nutshell, we both had the same manager, which helped. And the next minute we were paired together, and we were playing everywhere, Ireland, Waterford, Norwich, or wherever. We were at Newcastle. We were together, and we played relentlessly. And we were in Hull one night, and here's another. We were in Hull in 2005, I think, and he said to me as well. He says, "You're not going to believe this. We're getting back." And I'm like, "No way." So there is another. There's being at the centre of that news, and one of the one of the best moments, me and Howard is that I was playing at Victoria Pasha in London, and Patience, their comeback single, goes to number
Yeah.
one, and he has the opportunity to, well, he's still at the record company's party, official party, where they announced it, and somehow he managed to escape and make his way to Victoria and Pasha, and so there we are, uh, celebrating the night.
Celebrating, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it was good, and I've got a photograph of us together in Pasha, and I just think that those moments are memories. You don't need an Instagram moment; they are memories that would just stay with you forever.
Yeah, yeah. But you've got to have photos. You need to like, because when you're older, your memory sort of like goes slightly. You see these
Uh,
photos of it, go, oh yeah, that's fantastic. So that's why I
yeah,
always ask for photographs when I go to a gig.
yeah,
As much as possible, I'll hang around and wait for
yeah,
the musicians to come out and ask for photographs because
yeah. Well,
it's
I
just,
think
yeah,
I got to I got to meet everybody and take that, when they did the Beautiful World tour,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was really good. And I ended up, me and Laura, the saxophone player, we had she had a band of soulful songs, of her own, and I ended up joining her band for the tour. So, Beautiful World tour, Laura and myself and her group of musicians, we
yeah.
supported Take That. Yeah,
Oh
it
wow,
was, yeah, we were doing Manchester Arena and the Birmingham NEC, and we were on early, uh, and then they come on,
yeah,
and do
yeah,
their, yeah. So it was just nice, and I got to meet, the music directors for Take That, like, Mike Stevens and the drummer Donovan Hepburn, and I've stayed in touch with Donovan. Uh, I only messaged him a couple of weeks ago when they played Manchester.
Did you go?
I went
Did you
down.
go to that
Yeah,
one?
yeah. I still keep in touch with everyone, and
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Did you
It's
know?
all good.
Yeah. Do you know if was Jason Orange there? Did he go to
No,
the?
no,
It
no.
didn't.
I've not seen Jason, but I have. I get what Jason. I get that. I get why he's not doing it. I get it, and
Yeah.
yeah,
He just wanted
and
to
I understand.
find out.
Yeah, do you know what it is? I think, work mode, and there is this, level of anxiety as well, as a musician. There's not just, everyone thinks that, it's, glamorous, it's a champagne lifestyle,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
quite hard work. It's hard work, and the hard work is the hard work is not the 2 hours of on stage performing. That's the easy bit. It's every musician will say it's when you get to a festival, for instance, uh, sound checks at 11, but you're not on stage till 10:30. So what are you going to do for 10 hours? And it's a
Yeah.
lot of time to kill. And while you're sat there in your tent or dressing room, and a lot of things go through your head. You're like, oh, I wish I was at home walking my dog. Stuff like that go through your head. So that there is that moment where you've got your work mode, you're happy to be there, you've worked towards it, you've really, really want to be there. And then there's this moment where, you know, you're away from home, you're away from everything. I always said the best gig my house is Wembley Stadium. My garden is the best gig.
Yeah.
I flipped it all around, so I kind of feel grounded in my own mind and my own head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I come through the door at home, I'm stepping into my version of Wembley, you know.
Oh. Well, those hours could be meeting the fans. Could be. It was like, or maybe that's
I
also
think
one of the hard things, so like big.
meeting the fans is fantastic.
Yeah.
That is the I think when I was with Head Candy, it was fantastic because the fans, at first, you do when you're a music at first, if you're really successful in a band or something, you don't really see the audience that much, but you do notice if you see the same faces the next day and the next day and the following week and the week after, and you think, hold on a minute, they and that's when it becomes exciting. And when you see the same people coming to the gigs, that's the moment when you know we're doing something right because a handful of people are still
Yeah,
coming and they're coming every week. And that, from a drummer point of view, and the person who's made the effort to come, that is priceless because your journey to get there and to stick with the band and that choice of music and for
yeah,
us to perform it elevates us as a musician. So like you go and see a lot of bands, they're so happy to see you as well because it elevates their performance as well because they've got someone who's
yeah,
not just linked in, they are in tune with your music and your style of music.
yeah,
And that's a
yeah.
great, yeah, and I love that when the audience, you can
I'm
relate and smile.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because I still haven't forgotten what Chrissy Hines said, that seeing the same faces at the front, that she's not really happy with that. She'd rather see new faces, and I'm like, oh God, I hope not every musician's like that, because it's like when I follow a musician and I'm always there to make sure that I'm at the front, and then sometimes you think, are they getting fed up with seeing? I'm
Well,
glad that you
well,
said that. No, it's actually good, that the musicians feel like they're doing something if they see the same faces all the time, and that's just brilliant. I'm really looking forward. To be honest with you, I'm really looking forward to seeing K-Klass for the
yeah, yeah,
first time at Shine On in November. But you've got other
yeah,
gigs before that, too. You've got more
yeah. We've
festivals.
got I think we've got Coast Road, and then Kendall Calling.
Kendall Calling, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
so
how did you
it's
get into K-Klass?
I think about so when I think really the timeline of things, about 2013, uh, I met K Class on many occasions because K Class are a bit like Basement Jacks as well. You know, they um, got huge record sales as a band, but then
Yeah,
Felix and Simon from Basement Jacks go out and DJ. Paul and Russ go out and DJ as well from K Class. And my paths had crossed with Paul and Russ on the
yeah,
DJ scene in the 90s and the 2000s. So we'd known each other, we'd met each other. They'd seen me play. I've played with them on their DJ sets. So when it came for them to put the band back together again in 2013, I got the call. And
okay.
I've been with them ever since, and it's been fantastic. Every year we get a handful of gigs,
Yeah,
and we rehearse, we enjoy, we have fun,
yeah,
and it's just everything's just been perfect. Our set is just great. It's just a
yeah.
pleasure to play, pleasure to be with around such
See,
lovely.
yeah, you've been with them since 2013. I've
Yeah.
actually looked at their Discogs page,
Mm.
uh, but you're not one of the members that was listed there. Is it? Do
No.
you have your
I,
own Discogs page, or maybe not? I don't know, because you
I,
have been credited in some, so like album releases, right? And
I kind of I I've not really. Maybe there's a bit of me that doesn't want to be on
oh,
every.
okay.
There's a privacy. There's a kind of a thing where I kind of like thinking, leave them with the drums, leave them with the music. I don't want my name everywhere. Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I have that. I just have that thought of because a lot of the records are nearly all the records are programmed and the drums are
Yeah,
programmed. So really, the bread and butter is playing live.
playing live.
Yeah, and playing live and playing uh, at festivals and gigs and stuff. So you get your name on the flyer, and that's enough for me. I think the history, the timelines, that because so much has happened, and so much,
Yeah.
it's really hard to put it all together because when you listen back to this, you'll think we've just jumped from 2003. Now we're in 2009. Now we're
2000,
going back to
yeah,
2000.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Now we're in 2013. Where are we? What's going on?
But it's just amazing because, if you think about it, when you were young, listening to all these records, and then,
Mm,
I mean, you really saw, like, it's almost like with me listening to them when I was in the Philippines, and then actually
yeah.
going to the gigs and meeting them, having photos with them. But with
Mm.
you were playing with them. It's not just meeting your
Yeah, yeah.
heroes, you actually playing, you're playing with them, and you're part of the scene. So it must be, like a dream come true. But different, so like a higher level than that my dream come true or something.
Yeah, I have no idea how how I like the music that I like. Um, it's very colourful. Some of the music that I've listened to, and
Yeah,
and any musician, any drummer, if they're able to meet the person that inspired them. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, don't meet your heroes" and stuff, but if there is this. I mean, I'll stick up for all musicians who've not really given the best response to their fans. It's just that because they're in work mode sometimes, and work mode does. Um, you could be tired, you could be fatigued from traveling. You don't always
yeah,
have that sparkle, but for some reason, when you get on stage, and this is a mystery, the minute they jump on stage, this spark of life just comes from nowhere. The guitar just comes to life. The plectrum just suddenly has magic and electric in it, and the sticks just suddenly twirl. But at least when they come off stage, they're physically exhausted. Uh, uh, they may not have that always that glittering sparkle.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, there is that moment.
yeah,
So yeah, but
yeah,
I'm lucky. I've met a lot of my musicians that I liked, and I'm lucky. Um, very lucky. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I am actually aware of those things because there was that one particular moment with the drummer of it's a band called the 1919, and uh, I could tell, but I just thought if I don't ask him, maybe I won't get a chance because they were the support band, so maybe they're gonna
Mm,
be coming soon. But he was just really, he just looked at me. It's like almost as if saying, "Can't you see that I'm working or that I'm, putting my things together?" Because being a drummer as well, you've got the most difficult job of, like with the drum kit and making sure
yeah.
that it's all there, and then you don't just go off stage. You've got all these
Yeah.
pack and everything. So I could understand that, but
Yeah.
most of the
I can tell you. I can tell you now. Every drummer is apart from one or two, and I'd say one or two at the top. Nearly every drummer is putting about 7 cases in the back of their car, driving to a gig, getting there first before everyone, lugging all that kit in by themselves, finding somewhere to park, setting all those drums up, sound checking, making sure it sounds great. Then at the end of the night, there isn't very little time to go and chat to the audience. So because the first thing you're doing is taking the cymbals off and taking the snare and taking you're just trying to pack everything down,
yeah,
um, and
yeah.
and do everything that you've done in reverse to get back. And then once you've packed everything, then you can go and speak to the audience, I guess. But a lot of us don't have roadies. A lot of us don't have technical people to set all our drums up for us. So yeah,
Yeah,
we've got to, even I do all my own setting up for K-Klass, and as soon as
yeah,
it's finished, the riser is wheeled backstage, and I'm the one taking it all apart, putting it all in back in the cases. So it's not as glamorous as everyone thinks it is. It's still, and then it's whether it's rain or shine, it all has to go back into the back of the car
yeah,
and drive
yeah,
back home. So yeah,
yeah.
there is. It's yeah,
It's difficult, and then of course the last thing they need is when they're trying to dismantle the drum kit, and they say, "Excuse me, can I have a photo?" And it was
I
like,
know, I know.
but I mean, luckily, a lot of them, I think I've got to sort of like give them credit because a lot of them will just say, yeah, okay. But even though you can tell, oh, we should just sort of like wait until we're finished. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's quickly, it's all right. So, yeah, I mean, as you know, I love drummers. I'm a big fan of drummers and everything. So, um, right. There's one question that I wanted to ask you because, uh, especially because you said that you love you would have loved to be in a band like an indie band like the Smiths, but you're doing
Mm.
this so like K class and things. Is there still so like that thing in you that you wanted to uh, maybe join a band where it's an indie and it's just you know drum kit,
I, th-
no other
yeah,
because
I think that the thing now is as much as I'd like to do it, I think
yeah,
it's effort as well. I have to factor that in because there's a lot of effort that has to go into it, a lot of commitment, and that's hard, when you.
yeah.
So I'm nearly 61 now, and well, I
No
am
way.
61. What about? I am 61. What about? Uh, but I'm going to be 62 soon. So I've spent a lifetime doing it, and I'm really content. I'm really happy, very happy. And what I'm doing now, more than anything, is apart from playing K class, I'm going back and listening to some fantastic records that I didn't listen properly on vinyl or didn't have the time to listen to. And this is a great album. I'm going to show this to you all guys.
Oh,
Susan
I love
Vega.
that. Yeah, yeah, I've got that as well. Yeah, Solitude
Yeah,
Standing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. This, the drumming on this, on Luca,
yeah,
uh, is just exquisite. It's just so good.
yeah,
I really think all of you should go out and listen to it, and it's just so cool. And another underrated drummer is Mick Fleetwood. Tango in the Night, the album. It's
yeah,
just uh, that album. All of it is percussion driven as well. Um, Christine McVie, uh, Lindsey Buckingham's guitar. They're just so it's so good. That our whole
yeah,
album, Tango in the Night. It just the percussion, the shakers,
yeah,
everything. It's just your mind. The drums on Big Love. It's such a fantastic. I mean, that track is just so amazing with the drums, and if you've got them on your headphones, it's just like wow, it just blows your mind. And look, there's nothing wrong in listening to a bit of commercial music, but if it's commercial and it's done right and it's done good,
yeah,
uh, then yeah, why not? Why not uh, listen to
yeah, yeah,
some color? It's like me growing up, and the 70s was all black and white music, as in the, and then along came smash hits
and 80s
and music,
music and all. Yeah,
and
yeah,
it was and the magazines were in color, and all of a sudden musicians were smiling, and we'd never seen that before. And I grew up in 1984. We've got Careless Whisper the year before, 1983. Spandau was at number one with
yeah,
True. David Bowie, Let's Dance. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. Oh my God, yeah. That's my introduction
UB40.
to David Bowie.
Yeah,
The Let's
yeah, do
Dance one. Yeah,
yeah. And we had UB40, Red Red Wine,
well,
and The Police, Every Breath You Take. It was just what a way to come in. You had the Human League, you had Duran. There was just so much going on.
yeah,
The charts were really great. And if you were just someone of a 19-year-old just thinking, wow, this is all right, you know, you could pick anyone. The choice was there was so many artists. You could pick anybody. There
yeah,
was a lot of choice, and
yeah.
I enjoyed. If I picked Depeche Mode, I just can't get enough. I went, oh, I'll have that. I like that. Um, you know, so there you go. It was just one of them.
Well, I've got to say that I know that for many DJs, or like in the club scene or something, I find that they're very the music that they play. It's almost like obscure that maybe they're the only ones that are trying to educate the people. But well, I gotta say that the ones that you showed me, those are the ones I love. That I know these records. You know, I grew up in listening to these records and things. So I
Yeah.
was just gonna say that being
I
in
think I think
a club
yeah, I
scene,
think yeah, the club scene like Head Candy was just
yeah,
fantastic, you know. I mean, if you ever were there in 2004 and 5, I mean, it still exists now. You can still have that euphoria moment. Uh,
yeah,
it's going to see the right DJ and seeing the DJ that you think that's gonna elevate your spirit and
mm-mm.
elevate you. It's not with house music, it's you feel it as well, and you feel it and it takes you on a journey as every DJ will tell you. And they don't just play random obscure music. They are actually reading the audience, reading the crowd. So they look at the mood of the crowd and they pick the right record to for the next one to be played by gauging the mood. And I think that's the skill of the some of the DJs out there. You know,
Yeah,
the tops. Look how huge they've made it. I mean, DJs are now Calvin Harris. Look
yeah.
how
Fat Boy
massive,
Slim.
how
Yeah,
Fatboy Slim,
yeah,
David Guetta. These guys are, and Pete Tong's made this happen as well. I mean, he's changed it. You know, he really is a pioneer for dance music and dance acts. You
yeah,
know, we could go on and on about all the various dance acts that have made it and successful.
yeah.
And I,
But
you
when
know,
you're playing
I
live, yeah, when you're playing live with the DJ, sorry to interrupt you there. There must be a set list, or how
no,
do
but
you?
no, no. I think when you've been, there's no set list, but they are records that I know that do get played, and when they get played, we just instantly know what to play.
All
Um,
right, yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
there isn't like
So
yeah, there isn't a list that you've. Oh, okay, this is the next one. This is
yeah. So like if you play "I Can Feel It" by Bob Sinclair, um, you kind of know that there's going to be a breakdown. You kind of know where the stops and starts are because you've played it for the last 30 years. So you
yeah,
kind of you've played that record you've heard that record every weekend for the last 30 years. So you kind of know um,
yeah,
where by that time you should have got it anyway, at least.
yeah, yeah. It's just fascinating. It's
Yeah,
I'm really glad. I'm really glad that I finally got to ask you to come on Ask the Drummer, and
yeah.
like I said, I mean, my friend who I go to Shine On with, one of the girls I go, she loves K-Klass. And she was actually there last year. And then because I
Mm,
thought, oh my God, I know someone who played. And then, but I just wasn't able to get to it. But this year,
yeah,
definitely I will be there. I'll be at the front watching you. And, and hopefully you won't get too tired afterwards because I'm just going
yeah,
to be hanging around and waiting for you to come
yeah,
out. so, so I
yeah,
love your
yeah. No,
picture, by the way. The old grey
yeah,
whistle test. That's a brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant
But
program.
I
Have you
think I
heard?
think go on.
Yeah, have you heard about Whispering Bob Harris? Apparently,
Yeah,
he's got.
he's not well.
Yeah,
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 yeah, he's not well. But he is a pioneer of prog rock. He brought that that sound.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
it's just such a fantastic sound that he brought to, and it just expands your mind a little bit more further. So, like we're saying, the product placement is what was in HMV and Virgin Records on the front as you're going in. But if you got past all that stuff and
yeah,
got to the real music, what Bob Whispering Bob was playing, then you were in for a treat because these weren't chart records. These were albums steeped in album tracks. Whistle Test was an album's only. It was an album homage. If you had an album, that we were paying tribute to that album,
yeah,
and So yeah,
yeah,
I think I loved all that, and I loved the artists that they had on, and it wasn't commercial. It was just nice to see different artists, you know.
yeah, yeah. Well, my favorite, the Pale Fountains, they weren't on top of the pops, but they did a spot on the old Grey Whistle Test, which was really good.
Yeah.
You know, you just watch it on YouTube, and it's brilliant. Wow. So, anyways, it's nearly an hour and a half, and it was like I've been talking. I'm really enjoying all this, but you know, I've got
Mm.
to sort of like stop somewhere. But I've still got five regular questions that I
Go on
ask,
then.
I guess. So the first one is, if you could play drums or percussion in any band at all, which band would that be?
Um, I think I would have loved to have played for George Michael. I would have really, as you know, the album Older, Fast Love.
Yeah.
Um, I would have really liked to have worked with him. I think what a fantastic, talented artist, and um, yeah, that
Did you ever get to meet him? And,
I didn't meet him. I have. I was very I was very lucky to. And here's another cliche, but I managed to win tickets on Radio One, Simon Mayo, and I went to see him at the BBC Radio Theatre, and he performed 3 hours of the album Older to about audience of 30 people, 400 people.
really?
That's it. Yeah, and he stopped and started and stopped and started. Um, but yeah, it was fantastic. He had his full band there. It was really,
Oh, wow.
yeah. I was just sat in the front seat. I was literally 3 meters away from him, and he had his suit on. He had his the older look. He had a glass of red wine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and he sang "Everything She Wants" to all the songs off of older "Fast Love," you know,
Oh my
"Jesus to
goodness.
a Child." Yeah, it just such a and I've always liked his music. I liked his lyrics, his pitch, his range.
Yeah, yeah. So it wasn't like I don't want to say you used your being a musician to get in there. You actually won tickets.
I want
You,
to. I think I was always a music lover from right from beginning. Uh, I would have so all these artists that I met, I
yeah,
would have like you. I would have made that journey, and I did. I made those journeys, and I
yeah,
went to see bands. I did all the hard groundwork before I even. So I was like you, buy a record, fantastic. Uh, Pretend to play air drums to it or play air guitar
yeah,
and just sing with a hairbrush and just love that euphoria. That that record that somebody has crafted, well, it landed in my bedroom and I was enjoying every minute of it. And I was so grateful to that artist that had made that album and spent time writing lyrics and producing it. So I was always,
yeah,
and then when the moment they were able to put a concert on, I was there. So like everything but the girl, I was there. Um, Simply Red when they
amazing.
played Stars, the whole Stars album at Old Trafford
Wow.
Cricket Ground.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was there. I went and I saw all the warm-up bands, brand new heavies, and so I was hearing. So that's the good thing about going to live music. You're introduced to the warm-up bands as well, and which you never heard of, and you get another taste of something new as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing. See, that's why I always said that I wish I was born here. I wish I grew up here because I would have done the same thing. You know, go and see all these bands that I love. But I'm making up for all these lost times, so I'm doing it now. And you know,
Mm.
I'm still glad that I'm glad that they're still playing.
Yeah.
And I do see young bands as well or new bands, but you know, my dream of seeing all these bands that I used to listen to when I was a teenager, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. It's just amazing. So like seeing George Michael and there were only 30 people there. But
Yeah.
uh, of,
No,
I'm sure by that time it wasn't like, oh, can I have a photograph? And were you into
no,
that kind of thing? Or not really.
no,
And
I think that what happened was that they did say there was no photo. It said on the
no
ticket,
photo.
no to
Yeah.
photographs, no cameras allowed. This was this was a special. Sorry, this was a special recording for that.
Yeah.
They were recording this performance. It was in September, I think it was, and it was going to be broadcast on Boxing Day, and they did. They
And
broadcast it
yeah,
on Boxing.
yeah.
So it was a special recording. So and then I think 2 weeks later did. So he did the MTV acoustic unplugged, where he's
Oh,
halfway through he waves to his mum through the. So it's iconic, that performance. So the week
yeah.
before he did the Radio Theatre, then a week later he did the MTV unplugged. So
Yeah.
all the songs on MTV, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I heard a week before.
That's brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Right, next question is do you do any drumming tricks? Like when you play your percussion or your drums? Do you do like
No,
twirling or
no,
maybe
I can't do
no?
any of that. No, I wish I could, but I can't. I'm just going to move slightly. Just 1 second. I'm just going to move over here a minute.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm going to plug my phone in because it's just
Oh,
about to die. It's just about to die, and I don't want to.
no,
There we
we've
go.
only got a few more minutes to go anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah. So you don't do any tricks at all. You don't even point
No,
to the, you don't point to the audience and just acknowledging them there. Or
yeah, I do all that.
I've
Yeah,
seen
I
it though.
kind of
You
do
look
that.
so happy. You look happy when you're playing drums, or
Yeah,
when
I
you're playing
always.
percussion.
I'm enjoying playing the percussion. I love the congas. I love the bongos. I
Yeah,
can get really deep into the groove and play those. It's not all about snare and hi hat and drums. It can be anything. It can be the bongo fills, the conga fills.
yeah,
It's finding that texture, that rich sound, and bringing it a little bit more forward. I think percussion is kind of slightly at the back. Uh, but if you listen, I mean, I, I, I want all of you to go and listen to Avalon by Roxy Music
culture
and put
music. Yeah,
Avalon on and put the beginning and listen to the first minute of Avalon and tell me, count how many percussion bits and pieces you can hear. Uh, Go and listen to Tears for Fears, A Woman in Chains.
yeah,
For
yeah,
the first minute is all percussion, and it's if you and it's just lays the texture, it lays the foundation of why these songs were huge. You know, there is
yeah.
a missing that it's like a recipe. You know, what's the secret recipe then? Come on, well, if you listen, and you'll hear it.
Yeah. Is your daughter part of K-Klass now as well? Is she,
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, when I say I think so, she is. Yes. So,
yes, yeah, yeah,
uh, so what happened is couple of times I have not been available to do it, and she stepped in, and so what's happened is I I said, why don't we just do it together? Because then we could learn off each other, and we could learn more. I can learn a bit more, and she can learn more, and we can do. So she's doing this morning coffee rave thing with Davina McCall tomorrow in London. So yeah, this is something that's taken off for her,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's well-being. So they walk for an hour, and then they do, and then an hour, a
That's
half an hour or 40 minutes of dance music where everybody, a bit like
it.
so. Yeah, it's just uplifting
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
and this is before everyone goes to work. So it's 7 a.m.
Oh,
and
God,
everyone.
an early
So
one.
I think yeah, it's an early one, but there's no. It's called a coffee rave, and that's what she's doing. And so there's no alcohol. It's just coffee
No, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and everyone feels happy going. After that, they go really happy to work. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Do you
so.
know?
Romy's. Go on.
Yeah. Sorry. No. Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's what Romi's doing. She's part of K-Klass, um, and she's
And
yeah, uh,
and
and she's doing
Davina,
well. And she's a very talented musician.
that's
I never
brilliant.
taught her, by the way. She just picked it up by listening
Picked it up.
to all the records that I play in the car.
Yeah, yeah.
And while I was doing the school run, she was like listening in the back of the car, going, "Oh, that sounds good."
What about the Indian classical music that
Uh,
her granddad probably sort of like wanted to sort of like get into as well?
yeah,
Got
I
to
think the nearest we ever got was like Nitin Sawhney. Um, we that was groundbreaking album, Broken Skin. So
yeah.
if you want to listen to Broken Skin by Nitin Sawhney, and if you listen
Yeah.
to a track called Tides, um, it's just all cymbals, and that's just layers of cymbals and it's just you'll be blown away. That's all I'm gonna say.
Do you remember Apache Indian
I do,
in the night?
yeah. So when I was doing the the Bhangra band stuff back
Yeah.
then, he was around, and yeah, he
There's
was
one
doing.
called is it Gas System that's very, very popular at the time.
Mm,
Um, and I remember I was living in the Middle East, and
mm.
that was like one of my most favorite thing. Apache Indian. I always used to just wait for him to come on Channel V, and I'll watch it. It was like, oh my god, this is so good. I wonder what's happened to him though. It's like
I don't
he seems
know. I've
yeah,
no
he's
idea. I've no,
like disappeared after that hit, and then that's it. It's gone. But another one that I wanted
yeah.
to ask you though is Inda Goldfinger, who's another amazing, uh, percussionist and thing.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
they
this
live.
is we
Yeah,
went to school together. We're best friends, and we went to school together.
Inda Goldfinger with Inda. No way. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
we spent he he and I spent a lifetime together. Our youth, our record collection. Um, Inder had, Inder had he had the Sex Pistols and Earth, Wind and Fire, and I had like Sparks and Spandau. So,
My
and we our our record collection, we were in each other's house in Leeds, and we grew up together.
god. Wow. Have
Yeah,
you ever played together?
if you ever ask Inder who's his best friend is, his best friend was my dad. He loved my dad, and my dad was Inder is the one that got the Indian classical music. He is classically trained Indian tabla player. He is of the highest level,
Oh
and
wow.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so out of the two of us, Inder got it, and I didn't get it.
God. So, K-Klass and Wenatchee tribe. Have you ever played? So, like, same bill? No?
Uh, no, I think I met Inder once in when we were doing Head Candy in Winchester,
Yeah.
Wild Child Festival, and he was on the main stage with Ian Brown, and I was playing the VIP with Head Candy, and he took me onto his tour bus, and I met Ian Brown,
Oh my
and
God.
yeah, and then Inder came and watched me play at the VIP. But yeah, and I'd met Ian a few times in private with Inder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's incredible. And I
mm,
mean, his son, Silverfinger Singh, I mean, he's brilliant as
yeah,
well. So he's,
yeah. Well, we all,
I
that.
can't believe it that you actually went to school together. Because now I realize, yeah, is it Bradford or Leeds? No, it's Leeds, isn't it? He
Yeah,
also,
we were Leeds. Yeah, so we grew up in Harehills in Leeds, and then there is another famous person, but we didn't really hang around with him a lot. it was Talvin Singh, and Talvin um, would lived in Leytonstone in London, and he would come up with his family. And I can remember Talvin, who went on to play for Bjorg, a
Yeah,
percussion,
yeah,
and Talvin and myself, and we were in my bedroom, and I'm like, we were listening to Highly Strung by Spandau Ballet, and we were just amazed at John Keeble's playing 16ths on the hi-hat, and we're thinking, how incredible is that? What the hell's going on there? This drumming is just insane. And we couldn't work out how John was playing the snare and the hats and the snare and the hats and all the drum fills. I can still remember that day, and it makes me laugh that the three of us, Inda Goldfinger, Talvin Singh, and myself, we sat there in my bedroom, in my house, and we were, in Hare Hills, Chapeltown and Hare Hills, and we were listening to Spandau Ballet.
oh my god, when was the
And,
last
and,
time
and
that you were together?
uh, well, I haven't seen Talvin. I I have seen Talvin when he came to Leeds to perform. I don't know if he was Trans Global Under. I don't know which band he was with, Trans Global Underground or with Natasha Atlas. I'm not sure which. I can't remember who I went, which band he was in. But I went
Yeah.
to see him in at the Cockpit in Leeds. But India, we speak all the time. Every so often, we have a phone call. I think I spoke to him last week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love Inder Goldfinger. I think he's just incredible. It's like, oh god,
Uh,
that's just fascinating to hear all these. It's like,
yeah.
wow.
Ender is he doesn't. It's like he doesn't need to do anything fancy. He's just such a talented musician, and his spirit, his energy is just
Yeah.
it's of the highest level. He could hold a room. He could talk to anybody. He was a life and soul of it. He was the glue that kept us all. I mean, even in going back to the first band, so I'm on the drum kit playing, over a French woman, and Inda's playing percussion, and he was doing the overdubs, and Richard and Alaric from Taxis were trying to mass mix all that together. So we go back, we go way back to the 70s, to the mid 70s, and growing up in Hales, and our record collections, Ian Jury and the Heads, you know, all of that was just, it was just all
Amazing.
happening. Yeah, we
Yeah.
would share records, we would buy records, we'd lend them to each other. He had all the Bob Marley records, every single one he had. He had reggae records that we never even heard of. We're listening to all this just magical music that we were listening to.
Yeah. Oh god, that's
I think
cool.
one of the first band I ever saw was the Specials when they came to Leeds, I think it was 1980 or 81 at Potty Newton Park, and they put a free concert on, and I'm probably about 15 or 16 or something,
Yeah,
and it's just
yeah.
fantastic. Just watching that was brilliant. You know, Too Much Too Young, A Message to You, Rudy.
Yeah.
Wow, what an entry! And then you go and buy the album, and the album's got 19 tracks on it, and you think, wow, I've got value for money.
Oh, that's it's just amazing. Right.
Yeah.
Well, oh wow. Right. Next question is drumming heroes. Who are your drumming heroes?
I, percussion, Steve Norman, John Keeble from Spandau. Those two
Yeah.
just stand out. The rhythm section. So if you listen to Cut a Long Story Short, chant number one, I Don't Need This Pressure On. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
those early records are just so detailed in live. Yes, they had the commercial hits afterwards, but if you go back to the beginning, it's just lush. Um, Mel Gaynor from The Simple Minds,
Oh yeah.
Phil,
Yeah.
yeah, Phil Collins, Stuart Copeland. Yeah,
That's
they are
fun.
they're just fantastic. You know, just fantastic drummers, and they're just yeah.
That's brilliant. Right. What about all those years that you've been playing? Have you ever had any accidents or disasters, drumming disasters?
Uh, yeah, kind of. This is interesting. It's New Year's Eve, and I was laying some vinyl flooring at home, and it's just those square tiles that you used to have,
Yeah.
and you buy a pack of square tiles, and I was laying the floor in the kitchen. I think it was like 1999. I think it was. Maybe no, but the year before. No, it was the year before. I think it was. It was New Year's, and I'd cut my finger. I was trying to cut the one of the tiles, and I was cutting it with a Stanley knife, and I went across my hand.
Oh no. Oh God.
Yeah, I managed to get it all up, and do the gig. But yeah, I was never forget that.
You were still able to do the gig after that, even though it's
Yeah, yeah,
painful. Yeah.
yeah, you do, yeah. Your adrenaline break goes in. And, last year as well. This is last year I broke my foot. Little did I know, I broke my fifth metatarsal. So if that, imagine that's your foot, and it's
Yeah.
this bit here. So I literally just did an ankle roll going to a gig, but I didn't know at the time. And I did the gig, and then when I got home, my foot was swollen, and I
Oh,
went the
cool.
next day to the hospital. Yeah, so yeah, so
Yeah.
that's another one. Yeah, so did these things happen though?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
all right now. I'm all right now though.
Because you play standing. I mean, you don't. It's not like with the drum kit that you're sitting down. You're actually with all the percussion. You're standing when
Yeah,
you play.
so yeah, standing. We go back like to John Moss as well. He
Yeah.
would stand and play hit. So a lot of that, I took what he was doing, what John Moss was doing, and thinking, hold on, John was playing hi-hat and snare standing up, and I couldn't do the kick drum, but then I didn't need to do that with dance music. And then I thought I'll just add congas, bongos, and chime bars. So yeah, it's yeah, standing up that, and it's
Yeah.
there's more energy. I found more energy and able to be. You're almost like a front man as well with standing up.
Yeah.
You can get
That's
everyone going.
right. Yeah. So, do you encourage the audience, and you
Oh
get?
yeah, yeah. I, there is that moment, there definitely there is. You could, I don't know what it is again. I said to Laura, like, I'd not worked with her for. We did a gig last week, and uh, we'd we'd not worked together for 15 years or something. We'd done a two or three gigs, but not on the level that we used to. But we just got on stage last week, and instantly it all just we. I could never explain it. On stage, we have this on-stage chemistry, and musicians will all say this. Where does it come from? We don't know. But
Yeah.
as soon as we come off stage, we probably won't even have a cup of tea with each other or a drink. But as soon as we're on stage, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah. It's fantastic. Well, okay. Well, last question now, because I'm just looking at the time. It's like nearly 2 hours. But anyway, so last question is, what would be your advice to aspiring drummers or percussionists or musicians in general?
Yeah. Let's listen. Go back. Listen to your dad's records. Um, go back. Yeah. Go back. Well, not my dad's records, but go back and listen to some vintage stuff. Go to visit the 70s, visit the music of the 70s and early 80s. I'm saying that because everything after that was probably digital. What you want to hear is the air between those tracks, the air that travels, between those songs, and the space that's filled with percussion and drums, the live
Yeah.
sound of a snare, the live sound of, you know, listen to the snare drum, listen to the depth of it, the roll of the sticks. Um, just dig out some great albums, whether it's indie, whether it's rock, jazz, funk. Immerse yourself in that type of music and learn it. You know, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and even if you haven't got a reference point, pick up an album by the Police, and that will just open the door to everything. You know, Stuart Copeland didn't do many drum fills, but he kept beat. So you could start with beat, and
Yeah.
keeping the third beat, and the for how he changed from when he plays Roxanne, how he can go from the third beat from reggae to rock. You know, Message in a Bottle is one of the is such a fantastic rock record. You know, and
Yeah. Yeah.
even going back to the Beatles, Ticket to Ride, that is just amazing. Ringo playing his unique drum style on Ticket to Ride. It's just
Yeah.
unique. It's not 2 and 4, which has all been the backbeat for every record from Kylie to, you know, you can pick up any chart record, it'll be 2 4 2 4 2 4. You need to find something that's doing something different. Burt Bacharach, all his records, cool.
But it's obviously the thing I find fascinating. I love music. I listen to it. But I listen to it as a whole, unless of
Mm.
course like with Phil Collins's "In the Air Tonight," where you can actually really hear that. Do. But
Yeah.
you've got that thing when you're talking about the air. You know, like you have to listen to that air. It's like to me,
Yeah,
I'm not that technical. Yes, that's the one.
that's the one. So,
Absolutely incredible. Yeah. So,
yeah. Okay, let's do this then. So, Avalon, the beginning of that. Woman in Chains, the beginning of that. This,
yeah,
In the Air Tonight. Listen to the beginning. Listen to the intro of the 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 keys, the D minor, and the drum machine. It's relentless. It doesn't need a key. It's just move. There's air in that move. You know? Um, it's it's just like Prefab Sprout. They have air in their music. Thomas Dolby put air into into their, you know. It's just there's just this feeling that they've got a lot of space in that sound, and that's what I'm trying to say. You need to, and then
uh-huh.
when the drums come in,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
then it makes sense. You know, so if you're a young drummer now, don't just go and beat the hell out of the drums. Learn how to hold the drumsticks, learn how to do a drum roll, and start basic. Just get that roll, hold, pinch, and grip the drumstick, and roll it on the snare. Roll it on the ride. Don't hit it, just roll it and see what the stick does.
yeah, yeah. Wow.
Let the stick do the work. You don't need to do much. And slowly, and before you know it, you'll be doing the Van Halen jump.
Wow. That's fantastic. Well, I've got to say, Dennis Brown. I mean, Dennis is amazing as well. You've got to check out his music. He said, "Great show, lovely storyteller, and good advice. Listen to Dad's record." So that's
Okay.
yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks, Dennis. Well, thank you so much, Pav. Like I say, I'm really looking forward to seeing you again in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
what K class and
yeah.
um yeah, hopefully ho-
Yeah, I
hopefully
think yeah. In November, so we'll shine on. We'll see each other. Yeah.
well, yeah, yeah. Are you staying at the whole weekend, or are you just there for the
I
night?
think like a lot of us, we just literally go and do our gig and we're out.
And then, oh,
I
okay.
bet. Yeah.
Well,
I don't think. I very rarely stay at a festival. I just literally drop in and do. We have a stage sound check time, so we just get there on site, do the sound check. As soon as the gig's finished, we're out. I
well, I'll
tend
try
to
to
do that.
catch you then. I'll try to catch
Yeah,
you there, Shine, before you
yeah,
leave. So,
yeah.
thank you
Well,
so much.
yeah.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that one. And I can't believe you're actually best friends with Inder Goldfinger. That's
We're not.
incredible.
We grew up together. We're not best
We
friends.
grew up together.
We're blood brothers. You know.
Yeah.
We
Well,
spent a
thank
lifetime. A lifetime in music shops. There was a shop in Leeds called McGrain's Music Shop, But
Yeah.
literally, we must have bought everything, or must have he must have given it because we used to stand in there and say, Ian, what can we have for free? And we'd say that, "Yeah, Ian, what can we have for free? Literally, just he never probably he must have given all his drum shop to me and Inda.
Well, enjoy the rest of the week and have a great time. And you're doing candle calling as well. So
Oh
unfortunately,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't do candle calling, but enjoy
Okay,
it. Thank you
okay.
so much, Bob. Take
Thank
care.
you.
See
Bye
you
bye.
soon. All right. Bye. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for joining us. Dennis, I'm really glad that thank you for your comment, and I'm glad that you're watching us live. Wow, that was incredible. I mean, the music that he was listening to, when he was young, that was the sort of music that I listened to as well. Our age is not really that much of a. There's no great age gap anyway. So, but yeah, it's fantastic. I'm really glad that. I mean, I've known him not really. I met him 6 years ago, and we've stayed friends on Facebook and everything. But it just sort of like occurred to me. He's a percussionist, a drummer. So I should really go and ask him. And I'm glad that he said yes to guesting on the show. So thank you very, very much, Pav Fox and of K-Klass. And definitely, if you're going to Shine On in November in Minehead, go and see them. They're always like the late night ones, because people like to go like clubbing and dancing later on when you go to that festival. And I have to make sure that my friend Gemma, I'll go with her this time, and we'll go and watch K Class. Right. Well, that's it for me for now. God, that's incredible. Like 2 hours chatting to Pav. It's fantastic. I'll be back hopefully next either Sunday or Monday. Um, but do keep an eye on the guest announcement post on the Astronomer page on Facebook. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just it's just the thought of like Pav and Enda, as young kids being together, and then both of them are like really famous now. It's just fantastic. So, right, as always, love music, love life, love drummers. Hopefully, I'll see you again next week. Take care and have a wonderful week ahead. And I just want to say, um, it's a bit of sad news yesterday because Ross Sinclair of the Soup Dragons, the Soup Dragons there, his wife died yesterday afternoon. So I'm really sorry about that. So my love goes to Ross Sinclair and the kids. So yeah, but that's just life is. So, anyways, I'll see you all again next week. Take care always, and big love to all of you. Bye for now. Bye.